Hello and welcome to another episode of the TechTrends Podcast. As I always say, this podcast is where we unpack the innovation strategies that are shaping the business in Africa. My name is Nixon Kanali and welcome. Today's conversations, it's about something every large enterprise is grappling with right now. We're talking about how to scale, secure, and stay competitive in an increasingly digital fast world. Because, when you look at it, whether you're in banking, manufacturing, logistics, and even government, your ability to operate, innovate, and grow is now directly tied to your digital infrastructure. And it's a conversation that we're going to be having today with a very, very interesting guest who will join us at the in our studio. And in Kenya today, very few companies sit at the center of that infrastructure, like Safaricom Business, for example. A company that still commands over 60% of mobile data traffic and leads fixed connectivity, mobile money, and now enterprise services. Welcome to the podcast, Henry.
Thank you.
Maybe just start by introducing yourself and just giving us more details about what you do at Safaricom.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this session. My name is Henry Muturi. I take care of the team that is responsible for enterprise business, taking care of financial services customers, the banks, the insurance firms, the wealth companies, the fintechs, as well as the SACCOs.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The SACCOs are very big in Kenya right now.
Exactly.
All right. So let's, start by a very common phrase we get to hear from Safaricom Business. Powering progress. I mean, it's a very interesting term that I get to hear whenever I get to attend a lot of your press briefings. You can just, pay you a visit to your offices, because when you look at the Kenya economy today, when we talk about digital infrastructure, it's not just about support, right? It's actually the backbone, what powers that infrastructure. And of course, Safaricom alone, as I said, when I was doing the intro for the podcast, connects tens of millions of users and of course processes, quite a majority of the mobile financial transactions in the country, right? So from your perspective, what does actually powering progress really mean for large enterprises and in a market where, of course, connectivity, payments, and even just data are so tightly interconnected?
So powering progress means basically working with the enterprises to help them throughout their digital transformation journey. So powering progress is anchored on four pillars.
Yeah.
When it comes to Safaricom business, the first pillar we'll talk about is connectivity.
Mm-hmm.
So we connect our customers.
Yeah.
And connectivity in this case, of course, fixed connectivity, which is broadband.
Yeah.
Whereby, of course, we connect our customers, provide them internet connectivity, connect their branches through fiber or fixed wireless access. We also talk about GSM. GSM, this is mobility.
Yeah.
So GSM, whereby we provide our customers, enterprise customers, with the GSM products, of course, for them to be able to work. That is connectivity. The second thing, after connecting our customers, we need to protect them.
Yeah.
Protecting them.
Security.
So this is where now we talk about security. So Safaricom provides security solutions for our enterprise customers, ranging from a number of security solutions, be it even what you call managed security solutions. Yeah. We have an MSOC, that is a managed security operations center, whereby we are able to host customers. Yeah. We are able to host customers and help them, of course, to protect their data and information. The other one is after now protecting, we have to enable our customers. Yeah. We enable our customers by providing them with the capabilities to enable them to be able to work. And in this case, of course, I refer to collaboration tools, applications hosted on cloud, on public cloud. We are able to provide our customers with such kind of tools so that they can be able to do business. And the last one is transformation. Yeah. So we transform our customers. How do we transform our customers? We work with our customers to co-create solutions. Yeah. Co-create solutions that addresses their needs. And I can give you an example. within the financial industry, especially for the SACCOs, we have seen that SACCOs over time have been suffering in terms of, automation of the back office and front office processes.
Yeah.
Core banking solutions that exist out there, they are not fit for the SACCOs. So SACCOs, we realized there was a gap and the SACCOs were struggling. So we decided to come up with a solution. I call it a platform to address these specific needs. So as you said, Safaricom has been able to build an end-to-end, call it core banking, but we will not call it core banking because SACCOs are not banks.
Yeah.
Safaricom has been able to build an end-to-end platform that addresses all the requirements, the automation requirements for SACCOs, taking care of the back office processes, in terms of onboarding. In terms of solicitation, all those financial aspects, and then of course front office. There is a front office applications. How now members are able to interact with the SACCOs.
It's very interesting because until recently, a lot of SACCOs used to do a lot of things manually, right? And if you belong to, like for example, I come from Italy. I know my mom forced me to get into this SACCO they have in the village where we contribute almost 600 shillings every week. Yeah. And when they do their annual, everything is just on paper, So this product now addresses such concern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We built it purposely for the entry level. For the tier 3, tier 4 SACCOs.
Yeah.
Tier 3, tier 4 SACCOs, because that is where we saw there is a tier 1 and some of the tier 2 SACCOs already have existing systems.
Yeah.
Yes. For the small SACCOs, the solution is meant for them.
Yeah.
To be able to automate their processes. So good, we are hosting the solution hosted at Safaricom.
Yeah.
So meaning that SACCOs don't have to buy any form of hardware, they don't have to procure hardware, they don't have to procure any software or licenses.
Yeah.
So basically what we pay is on the subscription fee, which is basically a small fee, monthly fee for them to be able to access the system.
Right. We'll come back to the command center you mentioned just later on, because, during the last cybersecurity summit, which I was privileged to attend, they were quite very interesting, relations about what these command centers be able to do in terms of just how to protect things from just cybersecurity incidences. So we're going to come back back later. But, back to connectivity, when you look at Kenya right now, we're looking at almost 58 million internet subscriptions, right? Could be more actually. Of course, with the vast majority being mobile broadband. And of course, Safaricom still holds, the dominant share of that traffic. At the same time, when you talk about enterprise demand, it's now shifting towards fiber, dedicated links, even just hybrid infrastructure. I'll give you an example. For example, here we use the Safaricom 5G. We got the portable Safaricom 5G, which, it's, I think, one of the best things you've invested in here, at TechTrends. And of course, what do you think reliable and even just high performance connectivity, such as, connectivity such as a critical enabler for enterprises today? And how now does Safaricom business just differentiate itself in a market that is becoming increasingly competitive, just like, of course, maybe Starlink? How different is Safaricom?
Correct. The feedback that we get from majority of our customers is our services are quite reliable. Customers are using Safaricom connectivity because of reliability, which is quite important. So the number of downtimes, that happen, very few, and in very cases, for example, in this fiber, construction is taking place in that area, and in that kind of a case, in the areas, maybe there could be fiber huts. Then try as much as possible to be able to work with the local governments and the counties. The counties in the towns where we are present, so that in case there are any constructions or any way excavations, basically work together. So ensure that, of course, we provide what we call redundant routes, so the backhauls. So ideally, in case maybe 1 route is down, there's a certain route that is down, traffic is redirected to pass through and that is one. The second one is if you look at Safaricom internet, for example, you will notice in terms of what we call streaming of data. When you're streaming data, be it upstream or downstream, either down. Safaricom internet is quite stable. So to us, the quality of service to our customers matters a lot. A lot of investments have been put in place, all the way from the equipment, monitoring, and even having a team that is dedicated basically to address all issues regarding connectivity. So support top of the class. Support is top of the class. We cannot have a situation where customers can be down. For example, we need information really safe to that, we're able to engage and quickly start solving the issues.
And
that's why you find that, for example, within the banks, the banking sector, the most preferred connectivity.
Because banks they can't afford to have a downtime.
Exactly.
For them, that's a very critical part of their business.
Any downtime, of course, is also to.
Okay, and I'm just speaking, still speaking on fixed connectivity because again, I think fixed connectivity is where now it's where enterprise transformation just really becomes tangible when you talk about that. And of course, you currently lead the market in that area, which is significant compared to just how competitive that space is becoming, right? But beyond these numbers, again, enterprises, when you look at them, they don't just buy connectivity, right? They buy reliability, performance, which is what you've mentioned here. So when we talk about solutions like, SD-WAN, we talk about dedicated internet, branch interconnectivity, how do these translate into real world outcomes for large enterprises operating across multiple locations?
So you will notice, connectivity is fundamental.
Yes.
I'd say connectivity is basically the foundation for any organization to be able to, be able to provide these services, seamless services to their customers. Everything is digital nowadays.
Yes.
People no longer go to the banks to pay. It's the one before one. So what happens is that now because of that kind of technology and now connectivity, of course, the issue of security and risk becomes. Therefore, we have to kind of layer other add-on spaces to
connectivity
to provide security. SD-WAN is a good example. It provides secure connectivity to the customers and of course affordable connectivity. The SD-WAN is you can be able to use the internet to be able to connect branches together. The HQ. So SD-WAN is one of the solutions that Safaricom offers to its customers. And then of course those customers whose applications require dedicated connectivity, MPLS still do provide MPLS to our customers. Talking about digital transformation, and most of the businesses, of course, are digital.
Yes.
So many solutions that we provide around it, including managed Wi-Fi, which
is very interesting actually.
Analytics. And you realize hotels, you realize the banks are even provide internet to their customers, basically to be able to enable their customers to transact digitally.
Well, that's pretty interesting. But of course, on that point of outcomes, of course, if you're a CIO or a CTO in a company, you're always under crazy pressure to actually, justify that investment, right? And now what kind of measurable impact are you seeing now from enterprises that are now adopting Safaricom business connectivity solutions? And, are we talking in here, let's say 100% uptime, reduced downtime calls, improved application performance? What actually changes?
I think one of the things is that customers become happy. Yes, because the services are good, the services are seamless, and therefore the companies or the enterprises are able to retain. Customer retention is key. So they would retain a customer base, and therefore, of course, they continue serving their customers, and in the process of serving their customers, they're also making money. So there is business continuity. Apart from that, of savings as well. In terms of you cut your operational cost when you are a reliable service provider, very reliable service provider, you can be able to cut cost across all areas. Do operations.
Yes.
You don't need to get a team in-house.
Yes, yeah.
To be managing your network 24/7.
Yeah.
So you don't need that. So when you have this trusted provider like Safaricom,
it's going to do everything for you.
Exactly. That's the thing. Therefore, even in terms of running a business, I'm able to run a business, and cutting down cost in the business.
Right. Thanks, Henry. Now let's talk to, the part I said we're going to jump into later on, which is cybersecurity. Because, even as connectivity expands, so do the risks, right? They also keep expanding. And for large enterprises, a single breach could mean a lot of things, a lot of reputational damage, financial, losses, and even just regulatory consequences. We've seen very strict to the getting to these breaches. And of course, as a Safaricom business, you now sit, in that unique position here where operating, at national scale, handling massive volumes of data and transactions daily. How do your cybersecurity solutions from 24/7, SOC you mentioned, and network endpoint to endpoint and network operation just help these enterprises build resilience in that kind of high risk environment? Yeah,
sure. So, in terms of say cybersecurity, a lot has been done. Safaricom has invested a lot in terms of cybersecurity. First of all, starting with the skills. We have well-trained professionals who are able to handle security issues and trends. A lot of investments, of course, in terms of the SOC. Mention about the SOC, the monitoring, real-time monitoring 24/7 of threats. The other thing is cybersecurity, apart from now providing actual cybersecurity solutions that cover network security, endpoint security, data center security, and everything else. Apart from that, we also provide professional services, what we call VAPT. So, for example, if a customer, an enterprise customer, wants to, implement cybersecurity solutions, Safaricom offers advisory services whereby you're able to get into the environment, assess the environment, check everything, do an end-to-end check. That is what we call the VAPT. And penetration testing. We're able to do that. We get a report, and therefore we are able to advise the customer this is the things to test. So security is not just finance. You share with people about security. So it's very good for us.
So you basically work with the client through when he signs up until the entire process.
Exactly. And we're able to recommend at different layers what solutions should be implemented.
Okay. And even just, and there's always that tension actually between security and speed, right? As an enterprise, I want to innovate. I want to deploy, cloud apps. I want to adopt AI, especially right now. AI is a big conversation. But again, I want to do all this without compromising on security, right? How then does Safaricom business just ensure, for me as an enterprise, I can move fast while still maintaining that strong, protection frameworks?
So, first of all, as I've said, we provide services.
Yes.
So, when we're working with customers, we look at their requirements in details. What kind of solutions are they looking out to? What do they want to roll out? Are these applications going to run on cloud? Are they going to run on premises? Of course, if they're going to run on the private cloud or on-premise, so because of it easy.
Yeah.
Because your cloud security there depends on what the customer has implemented. But if it is going to run on any public cloud, you like Microsoft Azure, AWS, or Google, in that kind of a case, we normally work with the customers and the enterprise customers. We work with them, look at it rather than end-to-end the system. And develop the solution. We're able to do it quite fast. So in terms of turnaround time, ideally, we're able to kind of meet the customer timelines.
Yeah.
So again, it's not an issue. A team, dedicated team, addressing this.
Yeah.
And based on experience, we have implemented some of these solutions. We have found out applications we able to deploy these applications on various very access to outside through the network, through the internet.
Yeah.
So we got enough experience and timelines should not be ours.
Yeah. Actually, I like that you mentioned the turnaround bit because I think that's always one of the biggest and for us when you sign up for any business. I mean, where we host all our platforms. Before we went for, host X, we were like, okay, how fast are they to respond to our queries? Should our website go down? How fast can they reach them? So, I mean, turnaround time is actually a very, very big thing, and I'm like, actually, you're tackling that, which is very, very interesting. And now, even as we expand this conversation, you just lightly touched about cloud. And of course, cloud adoption is really accelerating in Kenya. We've seen a lot of companies adopting cloud. Even the smallest businesses are now adopting cloud. But for many, especially Kenya being a very regulated market, there are still so many concerns. You're talking about, of course, data sovereignty, which is a very, very big conversation that we like having, especially here internally. Uptime guarantees, disaster recovery, all which are very critical for any business to actually operate. How then is Safaricom just cloud solutions now address these concerns, particularly in a market where, downtown can actually literally bring us down as a SME. Yeah.
So, apart from providing most of the sales services, Safaricom has got a sovereign cloud.
Oh, please. I didn't know that.
We have a data center.
Interesting. Okay.
And we host several enterprise customers on the data center. So we are able to provide customers who come for DR services, disaster recovery as a service. We're able to pop over a disaster recovery site. Just in case if a customer, primary site, which is on a premise or running on a public cloud, if it is down, at least they're able to work. They're able to resume and continue working. Right? Data center services. That is quite important. The second thing, when it comes to cloud, as you are aware, most of the hyperscalers, we work with them. Hyperscalers, most of them, like Microsoft, Google, all those we are acting as Safaricom as partner to be able to provide services to the customers. So what is the benefit of that? The benefit is, in case there is an issue, support. Most of Safaricom is in our country. We have what you call localized support. You don't have to log in a call, send an email to somebody who is in the US. I was going to stand there for face to go to it.
Well, just to a bot.
Exactly. So the point is, we have what you call localized support. So if you have an issue, you pick up your phone, you can go to somebody and will be helped you. So there is that element of comfort when you have somebody, ready to assist you, localized support. You understand?
All right. That's interesting. I love the data center bit. That's quite interesting. And one thing I've also seen Safaricom go big in Safaricom business, which I really like, is the IoT. Internet of Things, which again is currently becoming, the biggest drivers of enterprise efficiency for businesses here, in Kenya. Across sectors, we're looking at, logistics, energy, agriculture. there's that shift, towards real-time visibility and automation, which is again a very big conversation. And you are really enabling a lot of enterprises to leverage IoT, whether through telematics, smart utilities, or supply chain monitoring. And for telematics, I like what Safaricom did with during this rally. Remember, it was quite a big conversation. How just helping these businesses or enterprises leverage IoT across these different sectors?
So depending on the different use cases, for example, in transport and logistics companies, there is where our telematics comes in.
Yeah.
We have a complete end-to-end solution that is will provide SIM connectivity.
Yeah.
IoT SIMs will provide the platform, and of course, all the associated devices like IoT sensors. For customers to be able to, monitor, for example, if it is like logistics companies, how can they be able to monitor trucks, moves from one position to another position to another? So we are very strong within the telematics space. We got an end solution. So different use cases for IoT. We are able to work with the customers, and then we don't have a complete solution. We also have our partners that we work with to provide customers an solution. Smart water,
smart water metering,
smart water metering, to be able to implement water movements, organizations, different cities, and time intelligence. Our solution, and of course, also cold chain.
Yes.
So these will have some implement things out there. Unfortunately, that you have.
Right. I actually conversation around IoT because my first ever job after clearing school was in a telematics company. I used to do all this thing, and I used to enjoy just watching all those things and seeing how you can actually easily spot these guys here. This driver stopped. Why are they stopped for this long? All those things was used to really, interesting. And even just looking ahead, where do you see the biggest opportunity for IoT in Kenya? Is it in logistics, manufacturing? Smart cities, are coming up. Where is the real going to happen?
So different use cases for IoT. When we look at the future, telematics, this has been there over the time. Over the time. But then we are looking at integrated IoT with AI as well. I see IoT coming in strong to help enterprises be able to optimize their operations. How do you optimize your operations? For example, cutting down the cost of energy. We got customers, branches, they have branches, they want to be monitoring, power utilization, for example, electricity, for example, the cost of electricity has become quite high. Electricity is now quite expensive. Initially, it wasn't a concern. So enterprises are getting concerned about these, skyrocketing costs of running business. So a good case is whereby you can be able to, implement IoT to be able to help you manage the cost of power. That is, equipments that are not in use, automatically they can be switched off. The lights, stuff like this, anything that is running within a branch or in a business, you can be able to, use IoT to control power utilization. That is one of the use cases. The second use case, of course, IoT will continue to scale in the transport sector, and even in homes for security, where you can be able to integrate IoT security for everything, basically, including all the devices that we use at home. You can be able to deploy IoT to be able to, smart homes concept, you understand?
Yes, I've tried building a smart home in my house. Trying to see if I can switch off my bulb by just, connect everything. Figure 6, bulb in there, and all those things, so it's a very interesting concept as well. Henry, as we just almost wind up this podcast, we are entering, a new phase of enterprise information, of course, driven by 5G, which Safaricom is very big on. AI, as I said, it's a very big conversation. And of course, you mentioned an increasingly digital fast business model that we're seeing happening right now with a lot of enterprises or organizations in Kenya. And of course, as we mentioned earlier, Safaricom already dominates the mobile connectivity, again, expanding into fiber, cloud, enterprise services. But again, the landscape is evolving very, very quickly. A lot of things happening. We always joke with my friends that, especially with AI, there's a new AI. You wake up tomorrow, something totally different. Tomorrow it's you need to learn how to evolve with those. How do you see Safaricom business now continue to power this progress, in these industries?
Well, with Safaricom, of course, we remain very actively involved in terms of technology development, following up on what is happening, working with various partners in the technology space, so that we are able to adopt or adapt to these new coming technologies quite quickly. And we continue, of course, to invest by training our staff. For example, all our staff, Safaricom staff, they're trained on this AI, and we will continue, of course, to enable our staff on the space. So, of course, looking at the future is bright, and Safaricom vision is, of course, to become the leading tech core.
Technology company. Yes.
To achieve that. We are on track. We are on track when it comes to
that's ways to come.
We are on track. Good progress has been made, as I mentioned to you. All our staff are trained on AI, and we continue to do a lot of things. We actually have our own innovation within finance, looking at the different use cases. Customers are bringing their problems to us, and then, of course, we develop a solution internally to be able to help them.
The good thing is, from where I'm sitting myself, I can see this progress. I get to interact with a lot of these products from cycle business, and now just for an enterprise, leader listening to this podcast, of course, the stakes are really high. So we are talking about future-proofing the entire organizations in a rapidly shifting digital economy. What advice would you give a decision maker right now? Where should they be placing their bets for the next 3, 4, or 5 years?
As I say, we already have consultancy services, corporate advice services, in different outlets, fixed and global connectivity. We've got a team that is able to work with the customers very well, advise them on the future trends and what we're seeing happening. Security, of course, security is a big thing within Safaricom. We are the biggest enterprise that based on the foreign data that we have. On daily basis, in terms of mobile payments, transactions, and transactions that we have on daily basis a lot. So mainly that, of course, we have integrated proper security mechanisms, very robust systems, and that's why we are able to provide our services seamlessly. So organizations can also be able to learn out from us, and we can also be able, as I said, to provide managed services. Managed services to enterprises so that they can focus on their core business. We can check over the management of day-to-day activity, and they can be able to focus on their core business.
Okay. I know you mentioned that, just before we wrap up, of course, Safaricom has built, one of the most, I like calling it most extensive digital ecosystem in Africa, of course, from not really just Kenya, just Africa actually in general. So from connectivity, to payments, to enterprise solutions, for which we've touched extensively, on this podcast. One of organizations is looking to plug into that ecosystem. How can they get started? Take us through what does that engagement journey typically look like?
So for the future, basically, and this is what is happening. Cloud is the future. Most organizations, strong cloud. Some, of course, hybrid cloud have more than one provider. for cloud. You can have AWS, you can develop some workloads on AWS, other workloads on Microsoft, other workloads can be in your data center. So, based on the applications that and you realize that the majority of the vendors will provide these applications, all systems, and they are refactoring the applications so that they can to be out. Because cloud is the future. So we are looking at hardware becoming quality.
Yeah.
Hardware become quality. You don't need to invest a lot in buying hardware equipment to be able to run.
Yeah.
Run the operations. So cloud comes in. So every customer or any enterprise must actually a digital transformation journey.
Yes.
The journey towards the cloud. So it starts, of course, with what you call virtualization. Virtualize your existing applications.
Yes.
Make sure that you are refactoring the applications to be able to run on cloud. Then from there, identify the cloud, your preferred cloud. Safaricom provides, as I've said, software cloud.
Yeah.
You can be able to run applications locally, especially if there is that requirement. The just to be resident to the country. So we can be able to run that on Safaricom cloud. We also does, of course, services when it comes to you can be able to look at your environment and advance you on positive solution.
Okay, so that's a 360 offering you're giving to these, to clients. Henry, and finally, just, when you look at Kenya today and even just the broader African market, where, what's your long-term vision for just how Safaricom business will shape the future of, large enterprises in the region?
So what I see is, as Safaricom business, being able to provide managed instances to our customers, enterprise customers, and to add managed instances. And this is what we're looking at. We want customers to focus on their core business, which is a focus on their core business, which is specifically lending money, new mobilizing series, stuff like that, investing, and so forth. So we are looking at the future as Safaricom business being able to provide end-to-end managed services across ledger, monitoring, be it security, be it applications, even what we call fine-tuning of applications, be it a data center requirements, be it backup and overall data, because you can understand it's a very painful. Traditional customers. Giving issues so they didn't in this country, therefore you expect so the customers are treated. It's a problem, they're not able to trust requirements from the regulator. Therefore, Safaricom can really do up with these customers to provide solutions across everything that we anything related to technology. We can be able to provide analytics licenses and for us we had monitoring, advice and stuff like this.
That's what TechTrends is all about. All right. Thank you very much, Henry, for just spending time to join us on this episode of the TechTrends Podcast. Really, really appreciate. Yes. So, if there's one takeaway from this podcast, it's digital infrastructure is no longer just a support function; it's a business. Thank you so much for watching this episode of the TechTrends Podcast. My name is Nixon Kanali. I'll see you in the